All right, and we are live. You are listening to Gauntlet Hangouts on Air. I'm Gene, and I go by he, him, and we are playing tonight Sword, Crown, and the Unspeakable Power. Um, let's introduce our table. We're going to go left to right on my screen, so we're going to go Jason, Joe, and then Michael. So, Jason, take it away.
Hi, I'm Jason. I go by he, him. This is my second Gauntlet game. I'm excited to see how this goes. I think that's a good start. Who's next?
I think we'll do Joe next.
I'm Joe. My pronouns are they, them. I've known about this for a while. I've been excited to play it, so I'm excited. If you want to see my tweets about wrestling and other stuff, Joe_crack1C.
Awesome. Michael, take us home.
Hi, I'm Mike. I guess first of all, welcome, Jason. Glad you're in the Gauntlet group. And I also signed up for this specifically because I've been very interested in the game and appreciate the opportunity to learn it.
Cool. Welcome, everyone. You're here because you've heard about this game and you've heard possibly that it's a lot like Game of Thrones. And in my experience, it can be that way a great deal. Things get intertwined, backstabby. All kinds of bad things happen. Sometimes you are the perpetrator of the bad things. Sometimes bad things happen to you by the unspeakable power. Just a little bit about the title. The sword is exactly what you think it is. It's the force. Sometimes force of arms wins the day in this game. The crown is the political part of this game. It is amply reinforced in the game mechanics. So you have a ton of capital to spend if you go that route. The other piece is the unspeakable power, and that is basically the dark forces that power magic. If your character is familiar with the unspeakable power, it changes this game quite a bit. So those are the three powers referenced in the title. Basically, this is a PBTA game. Like I was saying earlier, it's not dissimilar from Apocalypse World in many of its core mechanics, especially harm and combat and that kind of thing. It adds a bunch of pieces in terms of the unspeakable power and politics, and there's going to be some faction pieces. The game is a little different in that we're going to do some world building before we choose the playbooks. So we're following the recommendations of the book. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the character keeper, and I made this. So if we can all give a thumbs up that we're there. Cool, excellent. And then we're going to go to the third tab. Well, actually, we're going to do lines and veils first. So you're familiar with lines and veils, I assume. But if you're not, what we're going to do is we're going to fill in lines and veils. And lines are things you don't want to cross in this game, and veils are things that we can approach with a lot of care. You all have access to this. I would prefer that you just type whatever you think it is, and we're going to re-review it in like 5 minutes. So I haven't added anything, but I will myself add things. Like I said, this can get really Game of Thrones-ish. I don't think we're going to go all the way there. There's a lot of things that are on that show that we might never see. So please make use of this. I think I mentioned this in my email. We're not going to use the screw in playbook in this game because, in my experience running it, the screw always leads to a safety check. So we're just going to skip it entirely. And that's because most of its moves are based on doing harm to another character. And that brings up all kinds of issues. So while you guys are working on that, looking at that, we're going to go to the mythology creation when you're available. And there's a bunch of questions at the top, and I did these as pull downs. And if you're following along in the rules, I believe this is on. I'll find the page in a minute. And I can't find it right now.
Chapter starts on page 137.
Excellent. Thank you for the assist. I did these as pull downs, and the pull downs represent the sample or the tables there to create the mythology. So we're going to answer these as a group. The first question is in the beginning, and you can either follow on page, I believe you said 137, Jason?
Yeah.
All right, let me get there. You're right. Chapter starts on 137, and the first question is on page 140. In the beginning, there's 6 options. The world was pristine and unsullied. There was peace between all. We lived in harmony with nature. It was a golden age of prosperity and knowledge. Dangerous things were sealed away. Times were hard, but we got by with what we had. So we could choose one of those, or we could come up with something different. What's your inclination?
Could you repeat them
Okay.
or write them down?
Well, they're there on the tab. So if you choose the tab on the right-hand side.
Is this the mythology? Okay, yeah. I was
Yeah,
still
so
in Lines and Veils.
Okay.
That was my
Yeah, I'm kind of pushing forward. So you could pull down the tab and see what it is.
I know what I like.
All right. What do you like?
I like dangerous things were sealed away.
I think that's a pretty cool one too. Michael, Jason, anything speak to you from that list?
No,
I
that
think
sounds
that's
good.
Yeah, I think that was the one that appeals to me most because I'd like to try to stay away from the golden age when everything was cooler in the past kind of fantasy trope, and I think that's the closest one to match that.
What kind of dangerous things do you think they were? We don't have to answer that, but if you had an idea, feel free to speak up, or we could work it out as we move along. Let's work it out as we move along.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to choose that. Dangerous things were sealed away. So the next one is then, and again, you can choose the pull tab, but I'll read these aloud. Then a never before seen threat arose. A new power emerged in the land. We meddled in what we should not. Rightful rule was challenged. Our ancient ways were cast aside or forgotten, and supernatural powers unleashed their wrath. And again, there's the pull down. So feel free to check it out. I'll replace that with that.
How about we meddled in what we should not?
Yeah, I like that one and the supernatural one. So let's go with the meddled. I'm okay with that.
How do you feel, Jason?
Mike.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I believe you said meddled, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
meddlers.
Okay, so
Curiosity.
the third one is this resulted in, and your choices again are on the pull down tabs. Divisions between people who had been long at peace, our glorious civilization quickly falling to ruin, the rightful order of things being overturned, poverty, famine, and plague overtaking us, wanton death stalking the land, the world crumble as if nature turned against us. So feel free to take a look at that.
I kind of like one. How do I feel about the divisions?
Divisions?
Between people who have long been at peace.
Yeah, I was leaning towards that too.
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah, we're going to review this at the end again too. So we're going to make sure we're all on the same page. Next one, and because of this, there was war which none could avoid. There was chaos, confusion, and disorder. There was destruction. Our greatness laid to waste. There was fear, dread, and panic. There was hatred, people filled with enmity and rage. There was decay and desolation, the once beautiful landscape blighted.
I like the first two the most.
I think I like 2 over 1 because I think there's a lot of room for interpretation that could be fun to play with. Between the other, so not ruling out 3 through 6, but of those first 2, I would go with 2.
Yeah, I'd go with 2. I think that one's
Cool.
sounds more psychological and political than 1.
Okay. So I marked that. And then until heroes stood mightily, scholars gained wisdom, people joined together, sorcerers turned the unknown or tamed the unknown. The gods themselves intervened, or the threat vanished mysteriously. What do you guys think?
Do we like 2? I'd say 2 or 3.
I kind of like the
kinda
sorcerer's one, but
Oh, okay.
of 2
I like
and
4 too.
3. Let's see. Of 2 and 3, I like people joined together more.
I could see a appeal for 4, especially since we've got the unspeakable power kind of like lingering and is baked into the very concept of this game. So I could be persuaded for 4. What do you think, Jason?
I would say I'm actually leaning to 6.
Mhm.
The
Six
threat
is pretty
vanished
good.
mysteriously.
As long as it's not 5. 5 is
Yeah, nobody likes 5.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
also like
it could mean like the threat. You know, they're just like, yeah, we're just waiting.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Shall we go with 6 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do 6. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't choose 5 because then we would have had asked the question like, who are the gods, and it becomes a really long build. So threat vanished mysteriously, and the last one is, and now things are back as they were, but we never forgot. There's an uneasy truce. We have ensured such things will never happen again. ... We can never return to those innocent days. We must live our lives with constant vigilance. Ruin is all around, a constant reminder of the past.
I like
So, what do you guys think?
5.
Yeah. But would you say 2 and 5 or 5?
Yeah, those are the 2 that call to me the most.
Those are the same two that they seem to relate most directly to a mysteriously vanished threat.
Yeah, I can go 5. I can go 5.
Let's do 5. Yeah, that builds a more. Yeah, I like that one.
All right, I like it too. Okay, so let's double check this. In the beginning, dangerous things were sealed away. Then we meddled in what we should have not. This resulted in divisions between people who had long been at peace, and because of this, there was chaos, confusion, and disorder until the threat vanished mysteriously. And now we must live our lives with constant vigilance. Okay. So the following questions after that are on page 142, and these are general questions that we're going to fill out as we make our characters and fill in some of the world details there. There is going to be a couple of things we're going to try to answer right now, though, and this covers, if you're familiar with the CAT system, this covers concept and tone. So first thing we're going to talk about, the 4 of us, is we're going to talk about what is the aesthetic or feel of our world. So if you think that we can do something like Game of Thrones for sure, which is basically high fantasy or low fantasy because there aren't any weird races. But it can do anything. We can do War of the Roses. We can do steampunk. We can do any other tone.
I'm getting a kind of like Mad Max sort of feel, like we're living in a wasteland sort of thing. I don't know if that fits with the genre or with the game, but from what we picked, or maybe we all live in like enclaves from whatever the dangerous things we released, just wiped out just about everything except for a few safe spots or safe zones. What do you guys think?
We should be careful about doing post-apocalyptic because then this game becomes a lot like Apocalypse World.
Yeah.
And I would X any sort of like actual mechanics and engines. Like, I'm here for the fantasy.
Yeah. That's totally cool.
Stuff.
I have played this like in a space setting, and it quickly became Dune, and that was a really cool thing.
But like as terms of like sort of like wastelands, that draws to mind sword and sorcery of like Conan type stuff.
Oh yeah, I kind of dig that too.
Yeah, that would fit with what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Please,
sort of real low tech with a lot of ruins and forgotten areas
like
around.
opulence in some places, but most places left wanting.
Yeah,
I mean, we do still have those dangerous things sealed away. Nothing ever says that there's still. I'm sure their presence can still be felt in the world, even sealed away still.
So you guys you guys are telling me that you kind of want a fantastic world. You don't necessarily want Game of Thrones. You kind of, if you're going to lean in that direction, you kind of want like a Conan world with a lot of large areas with wastelands and that kind of thing. That
Yeah.
what we're saying?
Yeah, when I hear sword and sorcery, I think there is powerful magic, but it's it's not widespread. It's just, kind of like in the control of like, secret cabals here and there, and not something that's, you're not going to find like a wizard in every town, that sort of thing. I get kind of like a, generally I guess you could say kind of a, barbarian kind of a society. I mean, there could be emperors, of course.
Plenty of like room for raiders and all that sort of like war bands like the playbooks have.
Yeah. We're gonna have a chance to fill this out. I think playing around with the playbooks is going to fill out some of these things as we go. The other question I wanted to put to you though is how long ago do you think this great chaos, confusion, and disorder that we kind of put into the game, how long ago do you think it was? Do you think it was decades ago? Was it years ago, or maybe centuries, or even millennia ago?
I'm torn between it being fairly recent and like aeons ago, where like we're just in unease, but we're not sure why.
May I suggest, say, 3 generations, long enough so that there are almost no people who remember the old times, and maybe the younger the
younger just scoff it.
Yeah, kind of.
I like it. So if you really looked, you could find people who lived through it, but most
a lot
people
of people
don't.
Yeah,
probably dead.
And I'm sure we'll answer this soon, but like, what is it that they lived through? Like, people were insane, or there was war. I mean, we picked chaos, confusion, disorder. We didn't pick war, so it was something different than war in my mind.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess maybe divisions between people who had long been at peace. It could be something as simple as just like almost like the biblical story of the fall of Babel, where people just like split up into different nations and languages. I don't know if that could be not necessarily splitting up through war, but just through differences.
I see like lots of stuff like political marriages broke down because of assassinations that were orchestrated by unseen forces beyond their knowledge.
So
I think maybe like what Joe was saying, we could focus on what kept people at peace for so long, and then just imagining that breaking down, but not like everything. Maybe that's the first question we should ask is what kept the world at peace for so long. And
we can talk about that. So do you view it like there's an empire? Do you view a kingdom? What is the biggest political structure, or what's political structure are you in? Many nations, do you think?
Certainly many nations now. Maybe there was one nation before.
That could be, yeah.
What do you think, Jason?
Well, if it's only been 3 generations since the chaos and the confusion, I don't know if there would be much political organization at this point. I imagine more like, I don't know, like city-states would be the biggest organization at this point.
I dig that.
I could see it, but like I also see them like in the Howard S. fantasy, them calling themselves kingdoms, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of aspirations to empire.
We're a really wealthy city, and we're far enough away that like fuck you.
All right. So I think we can make that all work. So we're talking about city states, but that may or may not call themselves nations or kingdoms, but certainly not kingdoms in the sense of like 14th century Europe, right, with very clear, distinct lines.
Yeah, maybe like the Greek city-states in the the heroic age, where the heroes would wander the roads and they'd fight ogres and everything on their way to the next city-state. So like you go like more than a day outside the city-state and you're basically in wilderness.
Sure.
I like it. Yeah. We're gonna name some city-states right now. So each of you come up with a city-state name, and it's fine if we just have a name right now.
Do we want to pick like kind of if there's any consistency, like historical analogs for where we're roaming around, or do we want to just pick stuff that sounds cool, or what do you want to do?
I say pick stuff that sounds cool because
All right.
Yeah,
I'm not as knowledgeable historically.
I agree. And you know what? I'm like kind of a fan of playing to find out on that kind of stuff. It's going to hit us in the moment where we want to go. So right now, just come up with a name you like and you think you could be spending 3 hours saying.
One word that comes to mind for me is Conthraxis.
Okay. Can you type that into the chat so I get that?
Yes, I was just going to ask if we should do that.
Okay, I like it. So we're going to keep that one. Jason, Joe.
I'm looking up a generator.
All right.
It's not working.
Varengia.
I like it. Type that in.
I got it.
Oh, you did. All right.
Work, damn you.
Cold Coast or Gold Coast.
There is a Gold Coast in the current world, so
yeah.
I'm gonna
actually,
go.
there's probably a couple.
Oh, is the Gold Coast the translation of Varangia?
I wasn't thinking so, but it could be.
That's just another name for.
I was just two different names, but
Okay.
it could be two names for the same place.
Oh, I like it. We'll keep it just in case.
Yeah.
We'll find a use for it as we go along. Talos, I like it. Okay. Let's talk we're not going to get into magic yet, like what is magic like in our world, because I want to get into the playbooks a little. The unspeakable power in this game, the way that the book describes magic, it's less of a D&D style where you have a spellbook with fireballs. It's more of a Game of Thrones or even a Tolkien kind of thing where magic is subtle but very evocative when it happens. It is rarely vulgar and in your face, although certainly it can do that. One of the key things about the way magic works in this game is that it almost always comes at a cost. So you might want to keep that in mind. But we're going to revisit this question after we've chosen some playbooks. So I'm going to move Cold Coast up to here. But so we're gonna fill this stuff in as we go, and I also put on this character keeper a place for our notes. It's the 5th tab. That's free for any of you guys to type things in there, but I'll try to keep it up as we go. Okay, so before we go forward, I'm going to look at the I'm looking at the lines and veils, and I think we're all in agreement. Let's get a thumbs up if we're cool with that.
Yeah.
All right, so Jason, Joe, Michael, if you take a look.
Yeah,
looks good.
Okay,
Sure.
and again, if you think there's going to be an issue with whatever you're proposing, let's try to clear it up before it actually happens. And we always have the X card. Okay, so the moment of truth that I think everyone is into is we're going to choose playbooks, and Joe has one in mind. So,
Itching for like.
all right.
Let's
hear what you got.
I want to play the voice so badly.
I was looking at either the crown or the gauntlet. But my voice is fine with me if you want that, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
And for myself, I was looking at the crown and the spur. And I'm trying to remember if of the which of the playbooks are most in tune with the unspeakable power, would you say? I see there's the adepts.
Let's see.
There's the adept, the hex, and what's the other one? The witch? Is that no, not the witch.
The easy way for me to figure out.
The beauty or the what do they call it?
Arcane.
Oh, the beloved.
The hex, the beloved.
Adept, probably.
Yeah.
The beloved's like the red woman from or the red, what do they call her? The red witch in Game of Thrones. And the hex is a witch. And what's the third? The adept is like a priest.
Yes. And I'm so glad you purchased this book and read it recently, Jason.
Yeah.
You're going to be helping out a lot. Another way to look at this is on page 9, where they kind of rephrase this. Like, if you want physical violence, choose this. If you want political intrigue, choose this. If you want social capital, choose this. You want to work for someone, choose that. Or do you want a group of your own?
Yeah,
So,
for me, my biggest interest was world building. So the Crown that mentions the book mentions the who do you want to direct a group, and the beloved Crown and Spur, and that's where I drew the my direction towards either the Crown or the Spur, because either way you get to create an extra faction or whatever.
I'm all for being a voice for Crown, Spur, or
Power behind the throne.
Spur, I think, be more fun, but
so Mike, if you want to be the Crown, then I will be the Gauntlet, I think. But if you want to be something else, then I will take the Crown. But I'm okay either way.
Yeah, that's I'll be the Crown. It's yeah. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of game. Yeah, I think I'd rather be a Crown because of the between the Crown and the Spur. The Crown is the kind of playbook type that you're less likely to encounter in a game. Spurs are basically just fighters with a bunch of followers. I mean, not just, but the Crown seems pretty unique. So even though that might be kind of certainly a high profile playbook, I'll go ahead and give it a whirl. Let's see what happens.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Mike, you just said you wanted the Crown.
Sure.
Right? And then Jason, are you going to take the Gauntlet?
Yeah.
All right. This means this is actually pretty interesting because now the Gauntlet serves someone. So, or did you say you're going to take the Spur? You said the Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, there's one obvious thing you could do, and that is you could follow the king, but you could also follow someone else.
Well, it could be NPC, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The voice has a patron too, right?
Yeah,
I believe they do. So
do we all
it's
want
something to keep in mind.
Do you want us? Should we all be together, or should we kind of muddy the waters?
Muddy the water, please.
I mean, personally, I don't have a stake in it, but I think you're going to get maximum enjoyment if everyone is not on the same side from day one.
Okay. I think my patron then, if we want to jump to that right now, maybe would be like the local thieves guild kind of setup. Maybe I'm a strong arm in the thieves organization.
That's possible. It is up to you.
Okay.
That's on page 146 when we get there in terms of creating your patron. You will all also have factions. So what I'd like you to do is review the PDF, or if you have the book, just review the book. I see you've staked claims to one part of the character thing. Look, what that's all about. For your stats, which are the column on the left, beginning with steady, all the playbooks have a stat block to select. So please do that. I believe you start off with honor based on what the playbook description tells you. So what I'd like you to do is to get all the way through to through that block, and then we're going to discuss faction and patron.
Okay.
And come up with character names, please. So for Mike, for you, because you're the Crown, you can also choose what you want to be called. You can be called a king. You can be called a lord. You can be called emperor. I think it's up to you. You might want to fly it by your fellow players, because they will be calling you that or trying to not call you that for the next 4 sessions. So keep in mind, Jason, that your patron and your faction can be two different things.
Right.
So you might want to have, for example, your faction be that thieves guild kind of thing, and you might want your patron to be someone different.
Hmm. Okay.
Jason, are you okay with you being my patron?
I guess so. But then I have to have someone be my patron, so you'd be like third down on the totem pole.
Yeah, I could be completely unrelated to them.
Yeah.
You're my patron because, like, the way I see it, I'm like, the voice is the manipulator, the whisperer, you know, like, I'm like, you should take over. You should.
Okay. Yeah, I could, if that's okay with Gene, sure.
Because,
That's
like,
fine.
the voice has all of these, they have desires that they want to meet, and if they meet one, they cross it off, and then they have a new desire. So it's just like, oh, you know, I just can never be satisfied.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's I keep picturing. I'm sure they meant it this way, but I think it's like Littlefinger is probably the best fit for the voice, right?
Yeah, Littlefinger, Viserys. I mean, many characters, many.
Yeah, yeah. Wormtongue, all those guys.
Yeah. And you could do this a couple different ways too. Like there's room in that character to do it a couple different ways. You could do like a Cardinal Richelieu type, or you can make it, like a Scuzzy Wormtongue type or whatever.
Yeah,
What do you think thinking in terms of your patron though, Jason?
Um,
It should be like a person.
yeah,
So not a faction.
like a specific person. Okay.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to cook up an NPC if you want an NPC.
Okay. Mike, do you have any idea, like our stead, which is like you establish the city or the realm that we rule? Do you have any idea, like, are we going to be like, or do you have any ideas about what that might be at this point? Like, who do you rule, or what do you rule?
Yeah.
Well, I
Is it
imagine one of the. I
is it
imagine one of the.
Contractus? Or
Yeah, I was gonna go with
yeah.
Confaxus, since that was that's the one I named. But definitely, I think one of the city states seems like a good way to go.
Okay.
So your patron could be the leader of another city state, or a powerful noble somewhere else.
Yeah. Let me think for a minute. I'm going to go back to the mythology a second and see how that plays out.
Yeah, and if you feel like there's something you want to add to the mythology to help you come up with a patron, that's also fine too.
So I'm thinking, maybe, how does this work? Maybe my patron is the leader of a band of barbarians, of maybe like the Huns, so to speak, are coming from the wasteland to besiege Conthraxis, or what's it called? Yeah, Conthraxis, something like that. So maybe the
like a horde?
yeah, like a horde. So maybe the leader of the band is called Bloody Fist.
I think that's awesome. Let's do it.
All right, so my patron is Bloody Fist.
Oh. Oh, actually, I might change them. Let me look at my desires. So I'm thinking it might be fun if we both had the same patron, but like, I want you to like usurp.
Right.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I mean, you could be whispering in my ear saying you should be taking over this horde.
Oh yeah. Then you would definitely be my patron in that. Yeah, that makes the more sense then. Yeah.
Yeah. So then our faction would be.
You don't have to be the same faction either.
Yeah. Now, is
The Voids could have his own completely different agenda and faction. In fact, he probably does. So,
and the faction, we don't necessarily lead the faction, but we're a member of our faction.
Right.
Okay.
right. Because one of the functions in this game is that that the faction will do favors for you, but they'll also ask you for favors, right?
Okay.
Or cash in, ask you to pay off debts.
Joe, what kind of barbarians do you think we are? Are we Huns, like horsemen? Are we
You might also not be a barbarian yourself. You could be like
Or like a
what's
mercenary band.
yeah,
or maybe like
or a conquered people. You know?
yeah, or maybe somebody, whatever the chaos was that destroyed much of civilization, maybe it destroyed us, and we've been wandering for 3 generations to find a new home.
I like it a lot. That's really cool.
Joe, do
Now,
you have
are you wandering or actually wandering? Or like wandering as in you're basically glorified bandits, but you don't call yourself bandits?
I think we sincerely want to find somewhere to live, but on the way, we don't mind a little pillage.
You just take it by force.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe like like the Normans, that took over Normandy. They said, "Oh, we're just going to take this." Well, I guess they came in force and they said, "We're going to take over this part of your country." So that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Cool.
I like it. I also like calling them the Wanderers. Even if you have a name for the group, we'll just call them everyone else calls them the Wanderers.
Okay.
It might even be slightly derogatory. You don't call that to their face unless you want to get punched.
Okay.
So the other thing about patrons is that even though you have a patron, you can sever the tie whenever you want. Like you may have like debts to them, but you can remove your patron or sever that relationship. So for the crown, I believe you have a faction that you control, right?
Do I?
All right, I should look it up.
I know I get to control country.
I have played this game a number of times, but I don't consider myself an expert, which is why
I don't know
I'm glad
that I
Jason-
don't know that I do get affection since I get the stud.
Yeah, you get a stat, right?
Oh wait, I do get affection.
Yeah, you do create a faction.
Oh man.
So we're gonna do that. You don't have the book, Michael?
I do have the book.
Okay, so that's on page 153 about
Okay.
how to create the faction if you want to get a head start on it. But
That's where I
basically,
stopped reading.
basically, if you want to do it the fast way, which is a perfectly useful way, is you could kind of Chinese menu it and choose like from the list what kind of thing it is, and then we'll talk about like what they look like
Sure. That's
to
probably what
you.
I'm doing. But
The
first,
rest of
yeah, we
ahead.
have to create our character sheet up through what was it you wanted us to get through?
Well,
Up through Honor?
I do want you guys to name your characters and also obviously choose the playbook and get a look, so then we could start referencing each other on the rest of the creation bits.
Okay.
So that's interesting that the voice starts with to honor. That's more than usual. I have not played a game where someone has chosen the voice as their playbook. So this will be interesting. So Joe, do you have the rules?
I have the playbooks and basic
Okay.
moves.
I'm not sure if the playbooks have the faction creation piece. Let me check. If not, I'll just tell you what they are, what the options are.
Oh, sorry.
Joe, did we end up with the same faction then, or the same faction, the Wanderers?
I guess, yeah.
I mean, we can be like, you could be like the Wanderers might be the larger group of barbarians, that the roaming barbarians that we are, but like you could be a specific subset of that. Like you could be a member of the secret order or whatever, or the voice the chiefs
Right. So like
inner council or something like that.
right, like you can run the spy network, for example, and the spy network would be their own faction. So you could do any variation of that.
Faction, section, and writing its kind, status, benefits.
And in fact, I think I'm going to change from the Wanderers is the bigger group, but
Yeah, it's too big.
I think I'm going to be a member of a specific part of that. Maybe like the ice people.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, so the faction worksheet is a part of that PDF, the playbook PDF. It's towards the end. It's called Factions Worksheet.
Yep, found it.
Okay, cool.
Hi, little girl.
So, and what was the ice people's type of fact? They're just like a clan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're putting in those details now. I like this a lot. You guys have done some cool things.
Going between having a ring or an order. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the criminal ring.
Awesome.
I decided that the clan that I come from were like some of the original peoples who sealed away those dangerous things long ago.
All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Do you think that they're revered, or do you think that they're misunderstood?
I would say revered within Conthraxis.
Hmm. But elsewhere, they might be viewed suspiciously, or
Yeah, perhaps maybe there's an attitude that if she knows the secrets of the dangerous things that were sealed away, how do we know she won't like unleash them on us at some point? Like if we
Right.
that kind of knowledge can be misused.
right. Do you think there's been like an attempt to like control them, or at least sanction them, or even, or are they even hunted in some places?
Us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Assuming that the meddling that got us in trouble in the first place was meddling with those dangerous things,
Mhm.
my people could have been blamed for not preventing the meddling in the first place.
Right. Or some people could even say they caused the meddling. Who knows? That was 3 generations ago, right? Mhm. But
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like the idea that I'm making my character Amana pretty old, so I'm assuming that she was around. She was around when all this went down.
mhm.
I don't want to, and just for the sake of not having my character have all the answers, it's entirely possible that my character still doesn't. Even though my character was around back then, she didn't necessarily understand, or maybe everything about what was going on. Maybe her own memory is faded. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Um,
faded, or even just
may-
memories just kind of like take a life of their own after a while.
right. Or maybe anything could have happened. She could have had her memory purged, or she could just
Yeah,
be choosing to be forgetful about it,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I like it. So she is a she, her, right?
Correct.
All right. I'm gonna add that to your pronouns.
Oh, I thought I had. Oh, I have the she, but not the her. I just need a name for my peoples.
Yeah, I like it. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay, so your faction then, Mike, for Amana is going to be Conthraxis, right? Or,
Oh,
or is this like are you another member of a faction, and Conthraxis is simply your stead?
yeah, I
I
wasn't
mean,
planning on
that's perfectly
having.
cool.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on having the city state be just my clan.
Yeah, I
At
dig
first,
it.
I mean, I thought of that at first, like maybe this is unless this was a city state that actually was like the seal over the forgotten things, or the dangerous things. That might be, but either way, I think it might be more interesting if these weren't all my people, but my clan wasn't the soul or even the majority of Conthraxis.
Yeah, I like it. I think that works totally well. So, yeah, I guess you'll have to come up with a name.
Yeah, we'll name ourselves the Turlisks.
All right. I like it.
I do have this as officially honored, so these people seem to respect us. I think that means we're not necessarily we're not like royalty per se, but we're like royalty in everything but name.
Well,
From what I read the different statuses.
you are the crown, so you are a ruler.
Right.
So, but you're saying your people aren't necessarily. I mean, your clan is not necessarily the rulers, right? Or are they? I don't know. Are they always chosen
No,
from?
I like the idea that I'm not a. Yeah, I don't think I'm a. I don't think I inherited my role. I think my people are not a royal bloodline. I feel that like what really distinguishes them is magic. I guess their connection with the unspeakable power, or at least whatever. Yeah, because I have magic as one of the faction's benefits, so I see what's got power manipulators within the clan, and that's why I picked the stat slot that gave me a positive score in arcane.
I see.
But I feel like yeah, I think because our people are not, we don't identify as rulers, so we don't think we have an inherent claim to rule just because of our bloodline. I think it's just the way it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else do I need to define here? I get 2 barter.
Yeah.
And basically I get whatever I want within reason, being a crown and all. So
Yes.
maybe I should just assume I have it until I ask and you say no, rather than type down.
No, you need to actually do the gear part of your playbook.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So your playbook will have a part that says gear, and it'll tell you what you have.
It says I start out with pretty much whatever I want within.
Oh, does
reason.
it?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't just
Okay.
I wasn't presuming to just.
Oh,
I
right.
got whatever
You're
I
right.
get. I get whatever I want.
Oh, okay. Well,
I do get 2 barter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that too, and then the faction I just answered. I got the 2 honor. Ooh, the relationships. Interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna hold. See, that's where we're gonna stop. So once we
Sure.
get to that, we need to introduce our characters and then talk about relationships. So how are you guys feeling? Joe, you need to put. I guess your patron is the White Ruin. Is the White Ruin male, female, or ambiguous?
White Ruin is a man.
Okay.
I'll put that in.
All right.
I was waiting for them to write a name. So.
Oh, okay.
Did we get some more move boxes?
Yes. I'll give you more space.
Yeah, because putting them all in the one box, they get cut off. So
Hold on. Let me
they're
forward that.
Yeah, I messed mine up pretty bad, but I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do it.
Oh yeah, move boxes.
Oh, okay. It's
Give me a moment
no problem.
to expand it. I had to make a new character keeper because Maria's was not all that complete.
if you can too, maybe the gear have separate lines for all the different kinds of gear. Unless I'm missing something, because it all gets kind of jammed together.
Well, you can always hold Control Enter to create a separate line.
Oh, okay. Control Enter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a minute. It's going to be a little bit painful until I figure this out.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but each playbook has a sex move too. If you,
Yes. That is, I'm not sure if you played Apocalypse World, but it's also an Apocalypse World.
yeah.
And again, sex is that veiled or it's veiled, right?
It's veiled.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't think any of us wants to describe
Yeah.
it. Like, all right, move. Like,
Paint me a picture.
Yep. You'd be surprised, or I don't think you'd be surprised. Is really what I'm saying.
Horrified.
because I don't know. Yeah, I've never had anyone say, "Yeah, no, let's describe it." I'm like, no, it's we pan over to a camera and then describe what our move does.
Yeah. Giving you more room on your moves. It still might not be enough.
I just because in the future, like with advances, we're gonna need like separate boxes. Basically, is the easiest way to do it. But
Yeah, the problem is that there's a vertical vertical real estate thing. We could do separate boxes, and I might redesign it later. We'll see. I just kind of threw this together.
cool.
Whoa, hold on a second, Mike. I'm trying to fix.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, I might have blown away your moves.
That's fine. I only just pasted it in there.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I think it's.
I always forget I'm supposed to paste it, not in the actual area. That's what I should have done. Oops.
Yeah, these are also like super long moves.
Yeah.
So I'm probably have to. I am probably gonna have to redesign this. Also, cutting and pasting them from the PDF is not wrapping them correctly. So at some point, I'll figure this out and move your moves. Like these crown moves are super long. Wow.
Yeah, well, it builds in the stats and options along with the into the move. That's what makes it so hefty.
Oh, do that. Yeah, let me just give you guys a lot of space. Can you guys hold off for a second, making changes? And
Okay.
I'll just give you a ton of space, and then at some point, like in the next week, I will. Hopefully this did it blow away your changes?
No, it's just like a giant grid.
Yeah, I need to get rid of that. Give me a second. I want to make sure that I don't destroy
I think
stuff.
there's a way to do it where like
merge.
Instead of like you see like how like currently the move box goes from row 40 to 100 and something. where it would just be 2 rows, and the second row is just like a giant row.
Yeah. These are super long moves, though. Which are pretty interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I'll redesign. I'll redesign the sheet between now and then, and it'll be cleaner.
I wonder. What's the original? The weight of London. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very curious thing where the crown moves are 4 times larger than the gauntlets moves. Because as Michael was saying, all of the things about his stead is built into the move. So that is interesting. So I played this quite a few times, but never online as a have I ran it. And even then we used Maria's sheet, and a lot of it was, for example, for the moves we would just write the move names on that sheet, and the rest of it was referenced offline. So that's good to know.
Might be a smart thing.
All right. How are you guys feeling in terms of most of your sheet or most of your playbook?
2 more minutes and I'll be ready.
Okay.
Can we type on here now?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I keep changing my mind about what set of stats I want to use.
You know, going back to the original Mad Max idea, that kind of inclines me to make the population small.
Do they give a do they say what small is in terms of numbers?
I don't, not necessarily, but
The way the way they talk about like things like the stead and militias, for example, they tend to be small, but you'll find that like actual populations are more of a narrative thing in this game. So if we say population is small, that really doesn't change anything mechanically.
Right.
yeah, I think the only difference is I don't have to worry about feeding the people.
You still do, on the
Oh, okay.
you can't get away from certain things. unless I'm reading that wrong.
Well, I guess the way it says I removed the hungry one, so I guess I still have to worry about feeding the people. It's just not as pressing as as it would be if I had left.
Right.
I
Right.
see. Okay.
But you understand what I'm saying, that you can say the population is small, but whether that's like less than 100 people or your kingdom is really like 10,000 people, like the actual numbers don't matter. It's purely a narrative construct.
Since we have readers on the way, I'll take off reading as one of our things. I mean, I could leave it there. I mean, we could be like raider on raider, but I'll take it off.
Could. Anglo-Saxon England was all about raiding your neighbors.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to focus the attributes of of Convexus to what would a city look like if it were founded by people who seal dangerous things away, like magic people, I guess. Like if the primary clan in power were a bunch of like mages, what does that city look like?
Yeah.
I'll take out protection tribute. So I get 3 of these. Ooh, okay, I better stop. Well, I can't be large and small. I don't think I want to be large, so. Well.
Maybe you do.
Yeah. I mean, if we're the people who seal dangerous things away, a lot of people could feel safest there if they were the ones who know how to seal stuff away.
True. Or you could be a very cosmopolitan city that's very small, or like for example, Shanghai is not a very big city, but it is huge in terms of population.
Sure.
So.
Well, I think they'll definitely have a bustling market. I feel like this is a bustling market kind of town. And I think I'll take out population is small. So I'll 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I gotta get rid of one more. Well, I got rid of the army's largest. Yeah, I don't have a large army. They're probably I bet they're well trained. So army could be. Oh wait, there's the. Yes. Let me add. It looks like I lost the armory sophisticated option. I might want to leave that in there.
You might want your Greek fire to deal with the wanderers coming in from the east.
Oh, yeah.
Or the west, as it were.
Let's see. So right now I've got 4 options. So I wanted the bustling market. I've got large. You know what? I'm taking out popular. I'll stick with my in-between population. So I've got the bustling market, got a well-trained army, and a sophisticated armory.
So this tells me that you care about your realm.
Well, I certainly care to keep those nasty things sealed away. So yeah. I don't anticipate Amana being a Nero type of let's party and get drunk and let the peons make the decisions kind of thing. Yeah, she's not that kind of a leader.
Let them eat cake.
Right.
Kind of a person.
So let's see. What does that mean? That means surplus +1, barter, lively, want, idle. Ooh, idle. That's interesting. Well, I'll figure that out later. So now for the negative stuff. I feel remote. I'm thinking remote might be one.
The people don't understand you, or do you feel like you're not of the people? Or do you just not understand them? Like, you don't have anything in common with them.
Oh, I think this means like physically remote. Like the stead is physically remote, so it's not like near. Oh no, wait.
Oh, the stead. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Maybe it is physically
Yeah.
remote.
I might
Yeah.
wonder. I wonder if that. I guess that could. Yeah. I wonder if that might be a bit of a contradiction with a bustling market. When I hear bustling market, I think of trade, and trade and remote, like busy trade and remote, don't necessarily go hand in hand. Although I'm not of the negatives, I'm not seeing a lot that necessarily match my envisionment. But so I may need to like alter my envisionment of Conthraxis.
Mm-hmm. Joe, Jason, how do you feel about your characters?
Good.
All right.
Pretty good.
I think I'm ready.
Okay, let me just I can wrap this up fairly quickly. So I think I've been thinking too much in terms of like what the ideal concept is. The stoic people keeping the big demons or whatever sealed away. So let's. I gotta imagine if dangerous things are sealed underneath the city, that's gotta have some kind of leakage effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with. I kind of wanted to do a double whammy on my population, make them filthy and unwell and decadent and perverse. Unless I owe protection tribute to the rabid rulers. What if I were paying off the ice people to protect us from other people? Because that happened a lot in barbarian times, if I recall my history correctly.
Yeah, I think at that point we'd be getting into relationships and entanglements.
Okay.
So look at those, and if you think you're going to cross over into that area, we should be ready to do that. So
okay. Relationships. So I picked two of these options to give to other characters.
But we're going to do this as a group. So basically, are you done with your moves? Because now we need to introduce our characters.
Yeah, I think maybe if I could have the option of defining the negatives of the stead until after relationships are settled.
Nah, we're going to do that now because that might affect what they decide to choose relationship wise. Take your time.
Right.
I mean,
well, I'll stick with my original double whammy of people on the population of being filthy and filthy, depending on your viewpoint of decadence in general.
Okay.
And we'll see where that gets us.
Okay. So that takes you through the moves and that kind of thing. Is that correct?
I think I have to pick one more move, but I can do that pretty easily enough.
Yeah, the crown has a lot of stuff on that sheet.
Yeah.
And in general, this game takes forever to make characters. So in a way, we're better off with 3 players today.
Right. So I get to pick one additional crown move along with heavy as the head. So yeah.
So Jason and Joe, while we're waiting for Mike to finish up, if you look at the resources and competitors tab, you'll see resources on the left and you'll see competitors on the right. What I'd like both of you to do is to choose one on the left and write your name by it. So this is a resource that you control. And if there's a tie, you guys can just hash it out.
I've opted for Commander of the Guard.
Okay, excellent.
I'm not saying we're automatically getting the big barbarian war, but I think it kind of fits with what I envision for this character, being one of the last surviving members of the last big conflagration.
Nice.
I think it tracks. And now I think I'm set.
Okay. So I think Jason, you're still looking at that over.
Yeah.
Okay. Just keep that in mind. We'll get to it eventually. We are going to go talk about relationships now. So each of your playbooks has a relationship section, and we need to do both relationships and entanglements.
Ooh.
But what we're going to do is we're going to follow what it says to do, and that is everyone introduces their character at the beginning of the first session by name, class, and look. Then on your turn, you will pick 2 other players that the Gauntlet, for example, has relationships with. To do this, pick 2 options from the list and list below to tell to 2 other characters. So the Gauntlet will be picking from the list, and then he will be giving this to the other 2 players. It would be great if you agreed to do, to take that relationship. If you want to talk it over, that's also cool. Because there's only 3 of us, that means that there's not a lot of room to not take one. Everyone has to basically take one. So let's start with the Gauntlet. Why don't you choose your relationships, or at least read them off and decide what you're thinking, or
Okay.
come up with what you're thinking.
How about?
Why don't you introduce your character?
Okay.
And we're gonna. I'm sorry. Everyone's gonna introduce their character. Then we're gonna do the relationships. So.
Okay. All right. The White Ruin is a 7-foot tall, massive, 300-pound man. He's an albino. He has long, maybe waist-length hair, a long beard. His face is blank and expressionless. He has a narwhal tooth spear that he uses to draw the heat from whatever he hits. When he appears, a chill comes into the air. He comes from the Ice People, which are a clan of outclass. Even amongst the barbarians, they're considered way out there and are kind of looked sideways at by even other barbarians. They are known to be willing to take any job as they're willing to do dirty work, and they're known to be practitioners of magic.
Let me ask you something about the White Ruin. Is his look atypical of his people, or is he like he looks like the rest of his people?
No, he's exception. I'm thinking. Yeah, he's particularly huge, and he's mysterious even to them. I'm not sure why. We'll have to play to find out, but he's particularly strange and massive even for them.
Okay. All right. Let's introduce more characters. So, Joe, can you introduce your character?
I'm playing Virelia. She, her. She's a woman with shimmering clothes, seductive eyes, endless hair, and a voluptuous body. She is currently have a patron in the White Ruin. Probably because her previous patron died at the White Ruin's hands. Who knows? But she knows the game. Any questions?
What do you want to talk about?
What about the Silken Veils?
Oh, the faction?
Yeah.
Secret society of information gatherers, and that we trade for mostly our own security. Because information is power.
Cool. Michael, why don't you introduce the crown, please?
Sure. Amanda Volok is the guardian of the seal and ruler of, grand elder of the Turles clan, who are the original sealers of the dangerous things, and a recognized ruler of Conthraxis. She still wears the military uniform that she wore back when she fought in the last conflagration, which we haven't named yet. She is old enough to have actually participated in that war. She's got a horribly scarred face with sad eyes that still show their emotion even past the scar tissue. She tends to carry a pursed mouth expression on her face. She has got a sturdy body, and I'm going to try to enact some kind of Katharine Hepburn type voice when I speak in her voice. We'll see how long I put up with that, because I'm not usually much for accents, but that one speaks to me for this character for some reason. Her people are a clan, the Turlesks. They are the descendants of the original sealers of the dangerous things. So she's not the ruler of Conthraxis via a blood right of any kind, but the Turlesks are respected enough amongst the people of Conthraxis where they've chosen them to command, and they have power. I'm presuming kind of is power a separate attribute from military as far as let's see, as far as factions go, because I took a lot of military enhancements for the. Well, I guess that was for the cities. That's not necessarily the Turlesks. I'm just trying to figure out how their power is defined, besides the fact that they're in touch with the unspeakable power. I'm actually looking at the factions now. No, it doesn't. It doesn't list military might as a separate attribute for noble or honored factions. So I'm going to assume it's military might. That's that they're kind of like a martial clan. I'll roll with that. And they also, again, so military might and magic is kind of their deal. So that's basically Amanda Volok.
Okay, cool. So we are going to do relationships, and I said we'd start with Jason first on his relationships. Again, everyone's going to get a relationship from everyone else because of we only have 3 people. So Jason, why don't you read off your selections and hand them out?
Okay. My 3 are: I did right by you when I didn't have to. You have seen me follow through on a well-deserved threat. You once betrayed me and suffered my wrath. I believe that I forget your name, but Joe's character, you have seen me follow through on a. I don't know. How about I did right by you when I didn't have to? How's that sound for you, Joe?
Sounds pretty good.
And Mike, how about you have seen me follow through. No, you once betrayed me and suffered my wrath.
Okay. Could that be the scarring on my face? Like, what if I picked up those scars recently? Do you think, does that speak to you, or would you rather define it some other way, or define it later on even? Because we don't have to define everything now, right?
No, we can go with that. That sounds good.
All right. So you write that under your relationship column.
I write it down under mine. Is that right, Jim?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
All right, and when so that was Jason. Joe, I see you're writing yours in. Why don't you tell us what you're deciding?
Sure. Basically, with I'm only going to read the options that I'm choosing. The White Ruin. You followed my advice to your benefit.
Sounds good.
And Amana Volok. I've heard rumors about you that you don't want out.
Oh, okay.
What advice do you think the White Ruin take from you?
Oh, I think that Like, I don't know what rank the Gauntlet is, but he wasn't the Gauntlet until like I became his advisor.
Oh, cool.
There was someone above him, and I was like, dude, you deserve more. You deserve better.
Cool. I like it a lot.
He's been. Do you know what he's been saying about you?
As far as the rumors, I think we should play to find out what those might be.
Sure.
Mhm.
Unless you have something juicy in mind right now, but we can wait. I think. Mike.
Okay. First of all, I think I'd like to take back the idea of the white ruin, giving Amana her facial scars. I like the idea that she picked those up in the last Great Conflagration. I think those are something. I like the idea that she's lived with her scars for a very long time. That's not to say that that's exclusive with the white ruin being the cause, but I think I'd like to save that for the Great War. Unless I'm assuming the white ruin wasn't part of that Great War. Yeah, I guess I should. Yeah, I guess that's the next thing to ask. Could that have been something that happened during that? Are you as old as I am? I guess.
I think the White Ruin's only early 20s, probably. How old do you guys picture yourselves?
At this point,
early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point, I'd say I'm approaching a century.
Whoa.
Yeah, like no, I know generations are probably short, but still 3 generations is going to be like at least 20 or 30 some years a piece, unless you want to call it more like 60 to 75. Maybe let's do that because she's still pretty vital. So maybe late 60s.
Yeah, like,
let's call it late 60s.
I think Fierce 2 and 100 years old. I don't know.
I'm sorry?
With a fierceness of 2 at 100 years old, that seems like
that's a good point.
Well,
maybe early 60s.
I mean, the only way you could do it is if your kind is like supernaturally powerful, right?
Yeah, I guess maybe given that that the Turles are known for their magical ability, there could be maybe some alchemical infusements here and there. A little magical nip, a little sorcerer's talk,
Oh, that's the rumor. You're basically
that I've sold my souls for
no, like all the rumors of Elizabeth Bathory. That's totally you.
I like it. Awesome. It's just a rumor, though, right?
I mean, it's a rumor.
Yeah, it's just kitchen talk, water cooler talk.
She doesn't want to get it. She doesn't want to get it out, though.
Okay. So, are you writing that into your relationships, Mike?
Which part specifically about the cause of the source of the rumors, or
you got to do your relationships?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you still have to do your relationships. So
yes. So here are my. So the 3 options. I think I'm getting a sense from maybe. Well, let's see. The options are: you think me a great and wise ruler. You see me as an opportunity for a better life. You fear I know the sorts of things you get up to. Oh, it'd be interesting if I aimed that at Varela and had a little, I don't know, Reservoir Dogs standoff of rumor mongering going on. I wonder. I feel like the White Ruin would see me as an opportunity for a better life, as in, burning my reel to the ground and taking over the joint. Does that sound like a reasonable way to go?
Right.
So
we'll do that. And now, Varela, do you think me a great and wise ruler, or do you fear I know the sort of things you get up to?
Antagonistic is always more fun. It's a PvP type game, so
sure.
I think that also works better with what Joe chose for Amana's relationship to.
Yeah, the one thing I'm trying to think of is
I get all the
how would I credibly instill? I mean, secret knowledge isn't necessarily my bailiwick or what I'm known for. So I'm trying to think of.
You have no credible source. That's the basis of relationships.
Exactly.
Right. You may know me by reputation and just assume, right? Because all that relationship means is you fear I know the sorts of things you get up to.
Yeah, I get up to all sorts of things.
Sure.
Like
yeah, I think that's
like
I
need to find someone out. I'm gonna sleep with someone. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't just White Ruin I hope he doesn't find out.
Yeah, it certainly sounds more probable than you thinking me a great and wise ruler. So
Yeah, no, it's boring.
well, unless it's sort of shit between you and the White Ruler, but I would say that being the third party. So yeah, let's go with you fearless or no opportunity for a better. Okay, let's go with that. You seems the opportunity. Oh wait, let me actually. I only have one screen, so I'm going to open up the book.
I'll paste it for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very kind of you, Joe. Okay, so entanglements are something I choose for your character at the start of the session.
Every session, right?
Yeah, so I'll do that a little bit later. I wanted to talk a little bit about peripheral and honor moves. There's a tab on the bottom for it. So honor is basically a currency that you're able to use to tap in your honor moves. So I just cut and pasted these in from this sheet. This is also on the PDF. A couple moves that we always do. We're always going to do this patron move at the start of the session. So if you have a patron and two of you do, you roll plus the stat your class lists at the start of the session. So let me look at this real quick. So White Ruin's patron is Bloody Fist. Virilia's patron is, of course, White Ruin. So we are going to roll this. So basically,
Do
go
have a
ahead.
question. Since we are scheduled for 3 hours and it's going on 10, will we have enough time for like a session-ish?
I think we're going to have time to do a short session, a short
Gotcha.
RP.
Yeah,
We're at 6:39 on by my clock, so I think we're going to have about an hour to do it.
Cool.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. I just want to make sure. I don't want to be up too late.
Yeah. We're not gonna go over. So we are definitely going to do this. That move, the honor moves are at the bottom of this sheet. So you would spend your honor to do these special things. The big one that I've seen in every single game I played is call on your faction. So at some point you're going to want your homies in, and that's the move to do it. Also, this refuse an obligation due to your debt move happens all the time. So get familiar with it. That is basically it. We've gotten through character creation, except for the entanglements, and I'll do that while we take a break. We are going to take a break. So we're at 6:40. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 6:50 my clock, or 9:50, I believe, on Joe's clock. And we'll pick up from there, and we will start playing.
Cool.
Okay.
That work for everyone?
Yep.
All right. See you guys in 10 minutes then.
Yeah,
Um,
the guys at my table, they're not. I don't think they're really going to go for PBTA, but they did like Worldwide Wrestling. So
Yeah, it's so much fun.
all right, we're gonna get back to it. If you're ready, Mike, are you good? All right. I'm gonna ask you a real quick question, Jason. What is Bloody Fist like?
Bloody Fist is a ruthless, very devious warrior from amongst the barbarians. He's considered to be from the most powerful clan. He's sort of the rising star. He's once in a generation kind of figure amongst our people. But he's not very pleasant. He's devious.
Um, great. How old is he? Is he older than you?
Yeah, I think he's about 30.
Um, what does he think of Borrelia? Does he even know that she exists?
Oh, he knows.
Okay.
Oh, he knows.
He he thinks that she's a gold digger, and he has spurned her, which has led her to try other ways to reach power.
All right. So this is what you think uh, Bloody Fist thinks of Borrelia. Borrelia, what does Bloody Fist think of
Wait.
White
So
Ruin?
for clarification, is that actually what Bloody Fist thinks?
No,
Because I took it as to actually be what Bloody.
no, it's what
Okay.
White Ruin thinks. So
All right.
again, I'm posing this question to you. What do you think uh, Bloody Fist thinks of White Ruin? And this could be either something Bloody Fist told you, or that is generally known around the court.
Hmm. Uh, the question is, what do I think Bloody Fist thinks of White Ruin? Or
You can answer it any way you want. What do you think? What have you heard that Bloody Fist thinks of White Ruin? That might be the
okay.
better way of saying it.
He's a tool. He's not like he's a useful tool. Like he's like, all right, he's a hammer, and there's lots of nails, and every craftsman needs a hammer. Nothing much beyond that.
I like it a lot. All right. It is the late um, it's the late summer. Basically, it's autumn. You find yourself at an event called the Concordance. It is a diplomatic meeting held at the Iron Spire, which is a city-state that is basically located amongst or near the center of many adjoining cities. The city-state of Iron Spire is not by itself useful, but its location makes it very useful. All of the heads of state have at least sent a representative to this concordance. This concordance has been going on for at least 3 decades. So it is very prestigious to go. Security is very tight, um, but basically each organization brings their own armed camp into the Iron Spire. The event lasts for only 2 days. So the first day is basically revelry and introductions. That night is spent, some things are negotiated, some oaths are taken, and the following day, any duels or battles that need to occur happen in the courtyard of the Iron Spire. After that, the parties depart. Something always happens at this concordance. I believe what is happening at this particular one is the case for the succession of Talos is now in question. We're going to say that that the Gauntlet White Ruin has been sent by Bloody Fist to represent the Wanderers. Virilia is with him, and you are arriving slightly after Amana. Virilia, is that your role for your patron?
No, I mean,
You're just
it could
testing
be.
it?
I was just getting some dice ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to do those rolls right now. So,
Right. Should we do the entanglements first?
okay, yeah, I already put those in, but let's talk them over.
Okay. Sorry.
So I put them in.
Yeah.
I'll read them off. Jason, I put your entanglement. Sell your steel to someone important besides your patron. For Virilia, I have put in pass along someone else's secrets to help yourself. And for Amana, I have put in seize greater power no matter how petty, though it may put someone off. So what happens when you hit those entanglements is that you earn an advancement. When you hit 5 advancements, you get an advancement, which is another move or an adjustment to your stats or some other benefits. It's on your playbook. Are you guys clear about those entanglements? Thumbs up. All right, cool. So we are going to make that roll for the peripheral move, and that is the patron move. So Virilia and also White Ruin need to make this roll. I posted the roll for your party in the chat. So if you could hit that page, Virilia is there because Virilia is a pro. Feel free to make the roll when you'd like, Joe, and then we'll see Jason's roll. There he goes. Okay.
2 is 7 plus Wiley is Wiley's 2, I believe. Yep. So it's a 9 total.
Okay. So on a 7 and 9, your patron is generally pleased. Your patron's White Ruin with some reservations. So you and the player of your patron should work out why this is. They will hold one for this session. They may spend it to call on you to do something, and you must make or refuse an obligation, duty, or debt if you refuse, or you can just do it. So why do you think this is? Why do you think that White Ruin is reserved a little bit about Virilia?
Well, what are your thoughts, White Ruin? It involves you. What reservations have I caused?
So our history so far, I'm picturing that you said, do this and you will gain power. And I said, all right. And what did I say to you? What was my relationship with you? I did right by you when I didn't have to. So maybe did that?
I saw that as like, because I thought, like, as I described, like, whoever I was working for before you didn't kill me. And you took me with you, so that I always saw that as you doing right by me when you clearly didn't have to.
Okay, so maybe on the way here, on the ship or on the trail, I killed your previous patron because you suggested it, and I. What's the phrasing of your 7 and 9 again?
You're pleased with me, but you have reservations.
Okay, maybe I just don't trust you yet. I decided you might help in whatever I'm up to, and but I don't trust you yet. Does that work?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a start. Now, Jason, you rolled a 6. I'm not sure what your modification was for your roll.
Yeah, I was trying to look for that. Where do you find that?
It's right at the top, I believe.
Under faction, or is it somewhere else?
It's on your playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Should be Gauntlet Patron. Under the patron section, it should be. Fierce. Roll fierce at the beginning of each section.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm +2 on fierce. So what's
So
that
that
give
gives
me?
you an
8?
8.
All right.
Okay, so
Uh,
similarly, um, your patron is generally pleased but has some reservations. So you did detect that Bloody Fist was frosty when he departed. When he departed, he gave you instructions, and that is to brook, make no lasting alliance with any of the kingdoms or any of the cities. Um, but he also he also didn't give you any like jurisdiction to make any treaties as well. So he trusts you to represent the horde, but he doesn't trust you to actually negotiate anything in faith.
okay.
So you may feel a little hampered, or you may see this as an opportunity. Who knows? It's for you to decide. Okay, and Mike, you don't have to roll for the patron because you are your own patron.
Great. I do get a I guess you could call it a stud roll
Yep.
while my
So,
roll is secure.
yep. Why don't you go ahead and make that roll?
All right. Let me give myself some dice. It's a good color to pick. Let's go with white dice. What's my character's last name? Fullock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, so quite well.
Oh, well, that was just me bringing up my
Oh,
dice.
putting the dice down. All
I'd like
right.
to,
Okay.
yeah, I guess I should.
I love your honesty.
Right, so here we go with the reroll. Oh, I should have.
Oh,
I've learned my
all right.
I've learned a very important lesson of scup. Lie. Anyway, that's 3 plus my fierce, which is 2.
2.
Well, that's no
Right.
failure.
Still on a miss. Your stead is in want, so you have no surplus bonus, and I'll activate 1 or 2 wants. I'll do that a little later.
Okay. My wants right now are, well, yeah, you can find that.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. What are your wants right now?
Well, the ones
Oh.
I picked because I've got disease and deviance.
Okay.
And what do I have default wants? Hungry. I didn't do anything to get rid of hungry.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I'll look at that later.
Okay.
But you definitely have the wants that you have that you
the ones I
that
chose.
you already listed. So disease deviance. Okay, so White Ruin and Virilia are greeted as guards. The captain of the guard comes out and gives you the formal greeting. Your horses are taken. How large is your entourage, Gauntlet?
I'd say it's just the 2 of us.
Oh, excellent. I like it. I think that is in stark contrast to most of the other groups. Like I said, they each other nation or city state travels with basically their own armed camp. You're led into a gallery. You hear music wafting from above. There's musicians hidden up in the parapets in balconies. You see all types of fine people looking at you in your direction. Some of them are appalled a little bit. They know who you are. They've definitely heard of the White Ruin, and you're unmistakable in a crowd. Some of them look away. Some of them kind of they have that a look of distaste on their face when they see you. Virelia, on the other hand, is a stark contrast to you. She fits right in with the room. Amana, are you in the reception area with the rest of the group?
Yeah, since I would be sure.
All right. So you see the representatives of the Wanderers come in. One of them is a tall,
Mhm.
impressive-looking albino, and his
Oh,
you
I
wouldn't
know
call
him
it.
well.
Okay, right. Have you met before? You've had some
Well,
relationship.
I betrayed him and paid for it. So
Yep.
yeah, we have, or
So
I suffered his wrath at least.
so what's your reaction to his appearance?
Well, I'm not gonna make any visible stink about it. I do have my clan guard with me, my chosen Turlusks here. I'm sure they some of them might take offense and want to like you know raise up a stink, but I'd still them and just remind them that that this isn't that they're here as representatives of their people, and that's not why we're here, basically.
Okay. You're not White Ruin. You're not even. Do you even notice the king, or I'm sorry, the guardian of
Yeah,
what is your title?
yeah. What is your title?
Guardian of the
Guardian of the
Seal.
Seal.
Yes, I look over, give her a long blank stare.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep looking at her.
All right. Virelia, someone clears their voice behind you. And you turn and you see a man in his 40s with some distinguished graying at his temples. He has a well-kept beard and mustache. He's tall. You recognize him as one of the Dukes of Talos. You're not quite sure which one, but it most likely it's Duke Bax. He's one of the most powerful nobles in Talos. He looks at you and says, "I'm deeply honored to see that the Wanderers have sent such a distinguished delegation to the Concordance."
And she'll totally like curtsy in response, and Talos honors us with such pleasantries that most are too timid to muster.
He looks at you shrewdly and says, "Why is not the Bloody Fist here? He's certainly within his rights to appear before this assembly."
Oh, well, I cannot speak for the Bloody Fist himself, as his methods are beyond that of a servant's, but a servant goes where they are ordered.
So
And
the Duke, he's kind of nods shrewdly and looking you over while you're talking. Go ahead.
he has seen it upon himself to send us in his stead while he is delayed.
I see. Um, he, so the Duke looks up at White Ruin and he says, "Is your lordship prepared to sign a treaty?"
I glance over at him for like a second, and then I look back at Amana. I ignore him.
Mm,
I ignore the Duke.
I see. Well met, lady. We will talk later. And
I look forward to it.
he departs. Um,
Can I walk over to Amana?
Absolutely. Why not?
I was going to try to study a person.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and do that? That's a basic move.
Yeah.
So
Since I'm talking with this Duke,
absolutely.
And I totally have a letter from his queen.
Okay.
I forgot I had to detail that letter from an important person. So, all right.
Certainly.
I roll sly. Hey, where'd my... Oh. Reroll selected. 6 and a 1 is a 7. Plus 2 is still a 9.
Yep.
All right. Study a person. Ask 2. Let's see. What does your character wish I would do?
The Duke. You study the room, and it's clearly what you notice is the Duke is walking from group to group, and is kind of like shaking hands and talking. It looks like he's trying to gain some kind of favor. He's like building a maybe a coalition. White Ruin kind of dismissed him before he had a chance to talk about it, but he is trying to gain consensus.
And what does he wish I would
He
do?
he wants you to join his side.
And what's his name? Duke.
Duke Bax, Bax. And I put this on notes. So on the notes tag.
Yeah, I'm just making notes on my own little column.
Absolutely.
Top. All
So
right.
you
And
can
I
ask
got another
2.
one.
Yep.
Let's see. What does your character really want?
What he looks like he's gaining consensus, but what he's really doing is he's making a play for the throne of Talos. That's really the line of questions. The people he's talking to are people who would be you know influencers or power brokers for that kind of move. It's fairly transparent to someone like you, but most people would think he's just socializing.
Hmm. All right. Cool.
All right. So White Ruin, you said you were going to go approach the Guardian.
Right. So I stomp across towards them, towards her and her guards, and I approach. Do your guards try to stop me, or do they let me approach within a couple feet of you?
They'll try to stop you.
Okay. I look at them with a blank look again, and I say to you, "I know you, woman. You stood in my way once before. I say to you now, you know something that you have and know something that I need. I will get it from you."
Direct, I see. Well,
Yeah, that's not quite persuaded leverage, but
Are you threatening with force?
yeah. Are you threatening?
No, just being ominous. Try to.
Okay.
I guess this is what the Wanderers call statecraft. Yeah, I would suggest perhaps may I suggest trying starting with a hello next time. I find that's a pretty good tactic. Not that you know about perhaps you've heard of the arcane tactic of greetings. I'm just basically trying to I'm basically trying to just laugh off the forthright directness of the ruin.
You will need something. Come to me. I will help you, and you will help me. Now I'll go back to Varelia.
Okay.
Okay.
If someone approaches you from the other side, Guardian, you notice that it is the Prince of Talos, Prince Nyrax. He watches the proceedings carefully and reaches her side and says, "Your Majesty, that was quite an encounter."
Oh, is this to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, the Wanderers they do like to be. They're not much for small talk, as you can see. But
Well, I'm pleased that you're not swayed in any direction. The White Ruin is impressive, but you are the Guardian, and 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 your realm is as important as any other realm in this on this planet.
Well, my kinsman and I have a long tradition of sacrifice and steadfastness. If I may be so bold, to say as to say so, and sometimes let's just say that the dangers that we face down can tower even over a 7-foot tall icy giant such as the ruin.
Indeed, and that courage and steadfastness is why we count your realm as one of our favored alliances. I'd hope that would continue should there be a change in leadership.
Oh well, that was the. What is the relationship with of Talos and Canthraxia?
I think that you have trade alliances, but no military alliances.
Well, trade is important.
Indeed, and perhaps it can go further than that. My father, as you know, is not well, and perhaps in the future
that is a shame.
Indeed, perhaps in the future a time will come where we need to band together more closely to fend off unsavory types such as the White Ruin.
Well, yeah, he is definitely not a pleasant presence on our land. But of course, certainly I wish a long and healthy life to your father. Of course, I do appreciate your. Well, but I followed up by saying I do that she does appreciate Nyrax's foresight to keep looking for the long-term security of Talos, and I definitely hope that I do commend you on that as certainly, and wish you well. What do I have any? What do I know about Nyrax? Do I know him to be generally a disciplined person, or is he kind of a?
You don't know a great deal because he's quite young.
Okay.
You'd say he's 19.
Oh, I see.
When he was
study him.
When he was,
I was about to. Well, I was gonna say. I was thinking about maybe just like taking the conversation into other matters just to get a feel for what kind of person he is, as far as like, because I think my biggest concern right now would be is certainly as young, does he have a good head on his shoulders, or is he like going to be like a party animal kind of prince? That's kind of what I'm going to get a feel for. Maybe I start talking about if I start talking about some of the frivolities on display, get a sense of like, does he like light up when he talks about that, or is he really more about business? That's kind of the sense I'd like to try to get of him.
All right, so that does sound like you're trying to study a person. So
yeah.
When you study a person, you roll plus sly.
Okay, what is my sly? Okay, well, I had to have a weak point somewhere. Yeah, I got nothing. I've rolled a miss.
I see. Okay. So on a miss, you can ask one question, but I get to make a move.
Oh, okay. Right. Questions. That's under basic moves.
All right.
Study a person. Okay. Well, can I actually trust Nyrax to be a steady ruler?
You don't think so? He's too young.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. All right.
I mean, but maybe he will turn out. You don't know what these types.
Right.
They might turn out to be.
They're still shapeable at that age, but that's the problem as well as the possible silver lining, I guess.
Yeah, you agree. So so a bell is rung, and that indicates that dinner is to be served. Dinner is held at a really large hall, and there are multiple tables. And table placement, just like at a wedding, is a big deal. We are going to make honor rolls for this. So to do this, we're going to do you know who I am, but I'm not going to make you spend an honor to do that. Basically, this is a free do you know who I am roll, and the higher you roll, the better your table. Is that fine with everyone? All right, let's see the rolls, guys.
Is that just a straight up roll plus? Oh, is honor like an attribute that we roll, like roll plus honor, or is that what's going on? Or
On this particular case, you just roll. It's just a flat roll. So
I see.
normally, and I should check that. If you'll notice the
Yeah.
other moves for like call your faction, it's roll plus honor spent. So normally, what would happen is you would add it.
I see.
We don't get the experience for this though, right?
Right. This is just the table placement is not necessarily a thing. I just want to
Sure.
get us into the habit of it.
I got one of those. I'm always wary of these rolls where you press the button, but it gives you the exact same numbers of the same positions, and I always wonder if that was like a misfire, if that was the actual roll. I don't know if you have a. Have you ever noticed that? Am I the only person who's paranoid about that?
No, I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
I think the dice actually move a little bit when they actually roll, though, don't they?
They rotate, but the numbers stay the same.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I always wonder.
I got a 10.
Yeah.
Do you have a policy about that? Should I just stick with the roll? I'd be happy. I'm fine either way. I just don't know if I'm the only
Why don't we
person.
just keep it as a 4?
All right. Well, yeah, that's right. It would be a 4 because it's unmodified.
And
I got a
Varela,
7.
you got a 7.
Yep.
So, White Ruin and Varelia, you are seated fairly close to the front of the hall. You are seated at the same table as the King of Talos, King Moro, who is looking quite unwell.
Is the queen also there?
No,
She's
the queen is not there.
She's way more.
All right. You said you had a letter for the queen, right?
No. A letter from the queen.
From the queen. Okay.
Yeah. A letter from an important person. Detail it. It's the Queen of Talos detailing a long-standing affair.
Right. So the queen is not there. The king is unwell. The rumor is, and everyone has heard this, that he contracted kind of a wasting disease shortly after the last concordance about a year ago, and he's been slowly dying ever since. From what you can tell, he's still cognizant. You can still have a conversation with him, but yeah, he's seen better days for certain. He's looking quite frail. His hands are shaking. And at his height, he was a very tall and powerful man. You would say he was around 6.5 feet. Excellent swordsman and a very capable leader. Amana, you see him, and his son is not like him at all. His son is quite slight, much shorter.
This is Nerex.
Nyrax, yeah.
Okay.
Nyrax is not nearly as tall and much more slight. Does not have the same commanding presence, but Nyrax has his own. Some say his own charms, but you're not sure what those might be because he rolled a 4.
Right.
However, White Ruin, you and Varelia are at this table, and the king nods at you as you seat yourself, or as you are seated by the wait staff. A huge boar is carved just off your table, and choice cuts are brought to the table, along with flagons of wine.
Can I, as we approach the table, can I maybe pause and look at? Do I have my weapons here, or is this like a weapon-free kind of deal?
I think that like your huge death dealing weapon.
Yeah.
Now, did you choose? And I didn't look at your sheet, but did you choose the signature weapon? I
Yeah.
think you do carry that weapon
Okay.
with you.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going to part with it. Who would you give that weapon to
Right. So that adds to the appearance because it's like this massive narwhal horn
Mhm.
carved with runes. So anyways, I take it and I whisper to it, and my hands ice up and it ices up a little bit. And I'm asking it who knows how I may free you. And I'm whispering to the unspeakable power. I'm trying to find out who knows about the the seals, or how to contact the what do we call it in the mythology, the
We never
dangerous,
named them. We just
yeah,
stuck with
whatever it was that was sealed away. I'm looking to find it and contact it. So I want to find out who I need to talk to here to do that.
So is your implication that your signature weapon is a supernatural power?
Yes. Or it's a conduit for me to speak to some supernatural power. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure if it is. But you know what? Let's see where this goes. Is everyone fine with that? All right,
Well,
let's see
I
where
think
this goes.
I mean that's pretty much just flavor. I mean anybody can speak to unspeakable power, right?
Yeah, yeah, but
So
in most cases, it's a very specific thing. But let's see where it goes.
okay,
I want to check it out.
all right.
Okay, so, and everyone else is fine with it. So
I mean, if it has a mystical look, go for it, right?
yeah, sure, why not?
Is that what the rune
Um,
coverage was imply?
Right.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So I got +1 arcana or arcane.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 7.
Okay. So on a 7 and 9, I pick 1. So it is a hit though. So I'm sorry, what was the original question?
Who here knows about uh, how to contact the dangerous things that are what's the phrasing? Trapped away or hidden away, whatever it is that we have it as. Dangerous things that are sealed away. How do I contact them, or who do I need to talk to that will send me in that direction?
Okay. So um, you 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 get a brief vision um, of a lady who is somewhere in the crowd. You turn to look in the direction that you think she should be in, but you see an empty seat at one of the more remote tables. You're not sure why it's empty at this point, but whoever sits at that seat can help you.
Okay. I will
And then
keep
you're
my.
brought.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to say.
Then
Go ahead.
no, feel free.
I was just going to say. I will sit down, but I will keep my eye on that seat.
Very well, Virelia. You're also brought in the same party as White Ruin, and you're also brought essentially to the king's side. The king acknowledges you. In fact, he might be regarding you carefully, maybe sizing you up.
I totally curtsy as befitting, like, I know the routine. Like, I'm here serving the big guy who's serving somebody else, but also, like, I'm much more at ease in these functions.
Mhm.
Your Majesty, we're so honored to be granted to dine alongside you.
Indeed, I've heard of you and your lord. The Bloody Fist is not here, which surprises me. Yet he sends his gauntlet here that tells us many things. That tells us that he intends to war upon the city-states.
Oh, I do not think so. I, I, I choose to. I believe that it is. He has his faith in the gauntlet to uh, see through these negotiations, as the White Ruin is an up and comer. He is far more shrewd than many would give him pause.
Hmm. Well, your lord doesn't look like he's here to negotiate any peace
Well,
treaties.
Have you not heard of the saying to speak softly but carry a big stick? Is there any stick bigger?
White Ruin, are you overhearing any of this?
I'm not really paying attention to it.
Hmm.
I'm looking at that seat to see if that woman appears.
Okay. Now, as far as the Guardian, you're given a table that is slightly lower than your station should be. In fact, you're in the lower third of the seating.
Right.
This is the heads of state should be towards the front of the hall. You are not with the heads of state. Your guards aren't allowed at the table, so they're off to the side. However, while you're being seated, the Duke Bax comes to your table and says, "Your Majesty, I expected to find you elsewhere."
Well, I may function. I may perform leadership functions in Conthraxis. I'm basically going to try to put up a front that this is not a slight, but really how it is. I'm not a conventional blood ordained throne heir, as many other city states are run. We operate things differently, a little differently in Conthraxis. I don't like to put on airs as such. So perhaps it's just a matter of the good king, perhaps his scholars have failed to educate him or to inform him properly of how things are run in Conthraxis. So that's she's just gonna she's just going to try to put up at the front that she's not in fact been slated. But I do appreciate I do really consider your concern, and your presence here is perhaps all the social uplift a humble retired warrior such as myself could ask for at such a grand occasion.
Indeed. Your Majesty, I hope you know that there's a sea change in how Talos is being led.
Well, certainly the transition seems to be running smoothly by all accounts, as the concordance has been run this past day. I trust you're invested part of that transition.
I think we all are part of that transition. You yourself are contributing mightily just by being here. But no, what I was meaning is that that the situation may change, and the fact that the White Ruin is here tells me that the Bloody Fist intends to war upon our states. I think what we should do is perhaps ally ourselves as much as we can with the Wanderers. Surely they need friends in the realms to meet their peaceful goals. You understand?
I do. I do believe I understand what you're saying. The Wanderers, they wander for a reason. And tell me if this is incorrect or not. But my understanding is they wander by choice and are not necessarily looking for, to like be embraced by the whatever, I guess the United Nations or whatever passes for that in this land of city states. I guess the framework of civilization, I don't know. Basically, I'm trying to indicate that maybe they're not really looking for alliances per se.
Jason and Joe, what do you think? What do you think the perception is? Not necessarily what they are actually trying to do about the Wanderers and their goal.
I think the Bloody Fist wants to make an allegiance and find somewhere to plant his people somewhere
Okay.
that they can thrive. White Ruin, though, couldn't care less. But I'm not sure about Valeria.
Borrelia sees the Bloody Fist as he's a pillager. Like, they raid, they kill, and then they take prisoners, and all under like the claim of searching for a home, but they just keep traveling when they could have settled down and farm. They clearly don't want to.
Indeed. So the Duke says, regardless, I believe that the fact that the White Ruin is here tells us that despite the Bloody Fist's actions, that he does want to have a dialogue with the realms, with the city states. Don't you agree? And don't you think we should be united in our discussions with the Horde?
Well, yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, and I feel like are you saying that? And I think I'm trying to get a sense of why he wants. I think Mana is starting to suspect that he's looking for a like a fighting force to support his being in the transition to come, and I think it's really clear to all that the king is in weak shape, right?
Oh yeah, he's
yeah,
gonna die any minute.
Yeah, and I've already decided that the heir apparent is going to be a tool. It's going to suck. And,
okay.
Well, I mean, based on my reading of Prince
Right.
Nyrax, right or wrong, that's the impression I've come up with.
Right. That's your RP thought, right?
Right.
I understand.
So, what I think right now, I'm thinking that would I know of anyone else who could be a suitable alternate leader besides Duke Bax? I mean, he's certainly showing ambition by making the rounds.
Well, what you can do mechanically is you can definitely study a person, and you can study the Duke. So that is a mechanical things you can do.
Yeah, I suppose I want to give the same treatment I gave to Nyrax.
Okay, well, why don't you roll plus Sly, and we'll see what that looks like.
Oh, that's a little better. I generated an 8 total.
So on an 8, you get to ask 2 of those questions below under study a person.
All right. Well, I guess I'll pose the same question I posed for Nyrax. Can I actually trust Duke Bax to be a stable ruler?
Yes, in a way, yeah. He's ruled before. He rules his duchy, so he is a stable ruler.
That's a good point. And how can I get Duke Bax to service one of my stead's wants, whether it's hunger or something else, or one of the 2? Well, I don't necessarily know about the flare up that I rolled at the beginning. Is that correct?
No, you do. I mean, it's not a mystery. You are the ruler of your kingdom,
right? I just didn't know that was something that's happening, at the moment, or something that was already been happening before I left.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
He will. I mean, certainly he'll help you if you give him what he wants. He's kind of beating around the bush on this, which tells you that he doesn't have the power he wants yet, but he might, and then he'll be in a better position to help you. So, if you want his help, you're either gonna have to wait for him to get there, or you might want to help him along.
Right, which and the quick spike I see doing that is helping him with his plan to seal an alliance with the Wanderers, because I know firsthand that
maybe,
if I can trust the Wanderers, or if I feel comfortable with them being a presence in Talos.
Maybe. You're not sure what he really wants. That is one of the questions he could ask, but you're not sure what he really wants. He's telling you that he might want an alliance, and he would like you to be in the alliance as well, but you're not sure what he really wants.
Okay. Well, all right.
We're gonna White Ruin. No one ever
I
sits at that.
have a quick question.
Sure.
The stuff I was saying to the king, would that have counted as me giving him counsel?
Yes, I do think it would.
All right, that triggers one of my playbook moves.
All right, what is that playbook move?
Whisper darkness. When you whisper counsel into someone's ear, literally
Mhm.
or figuratively, roll plus wily.
Go ahead.
Come on, money. Ooh, 5 plus 2 is a 7, so I'll take it.
So you
On a
choose
7
one.
or 9, choose one above, but you also choose one consequence from below.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's see. I want to help them. Convince them someone is for them. For them.
Okay. Who is the someone?
It's clearly my boy.
Is it the Fist or is it White Ruin?
Oh, it is White Rowan.
Okay. All right. So he is listening to your counsel, and you see his brow furrow a little bit, but he nods. He is going to question your motives at some point. Maybe it's now, maybe it's later. But he does listen to you. In fact, he spends most of the time talking to you as opposed to White Ruin. White Ruin, you've been studying that chair. No one ever sits there the entire dinner.
I'm gonna lean into Valeria and say Varelia. What is it? Varelia. And I say to her, prove that I can trust you. Find the woman that sits in that chair and bring her to our chambers. And I'm gonna pull out my hold from your.
Yeah, no, I know.
Room. Yeah,
of course. As like, is it how loud are you in this regards?
it's a whisper in
the
the loud banquet chamber. So
sure, no problem. If you will excuse me, Your Highness, my master's requested my assistance with something, and I will. I'm gonna go about talking to servants because that's what I'm good at. Because I got an ear at each door and an eye at each hallway.
Excellent.
So I want to try to get information about people.
Sure. Roll plus wily.
People that I don't even know exist. So
they materialize for you. That's how good you are at this.
Yep.
So
roll plus wily. That's a 6.
Okay. So on a 6.
I wish there was something like team mechanics.
Yeah. There is an assist, but I can't think of how I would be assisting.
Yeah. On a 6, you ask around and they tell you.
Mystically assist, right?
Yeah, they tell you who it is. It is Lady Zanstra should be at there, but no one knows why she is not at the table.
Mm-mm.
So finding out the name was actually relatively easy. Finding out why she was not there is the tricky part.
Yeah, and my interest in the affairs might not go unnoticed.
Right. The dinner concludes. There's some gaming and there's some more festivities, including dancing and singing. The night goes quite long. Eventually, though,
I do want to slip a message to the Duke.
Okay.
So meet me in private at a late hour.
Okay.
Not my bedchamber, some other secluded place.
Yeah. That is not unusual at the Iron Spired in the Concordance that this kind of thing happens. Eventually, though, the festivities end, and most people retire to the rooms, some in pairs, sometimes some alone, some in parties. What do you guys do during this downtime?
Our Varelia. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Virelia just said that she plans to meet the Duke.
Yeah. Are Varelia and White Ruin, are they a couple, or are they not crossed that line at this point? Or
Oh, I presume that it's totally a sexual relationship.
okay.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like the honeyed words in the bed and whatnot and all that stuff.
Right, right.
Okay.
He's not a pleasant lover though, because he has a chill that's always around him, so it's probably not real pleasant.
Yeah, I gathered that.
So is Virelia going to meet the Duke by herself?
Well, I will first tell White Ruin the name of the missing guest. But like I will like try to find a way to extend an invitation to that the White Ruin wishes to speak with her and would be in her debt if she were to grant this request.
All right. So you
Is
send
this
that
a
note
move
off
or-
as well.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a move or not.
It's not really a move. I mean,
Okay.
that's anyone can send a note. Okay. But as far as meeting the Duke, are you going to do that by yourself or?
Oh yeah, it's by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the Guardian going to do as the party breaks up?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm really not certain what I'm going to do at this point.
You don't have to do anything. I mean, you have a whole nother day
Right.
of events.
Yeah, well, let's barring coming up with anything else, I think I need to. I might just take the night. No, just take the night as
Right.
is.
Plus, you have a lot of pressing concerns about about Contraxis, right?
Well, yeah,
You're getting reports that suddenly there are more concerns back at home, so you have to send out orders, that kind of thing.
another outbreak.
Another outbreak of deviance.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
The Duke replies to you, and you're to meet him at one of the upper galleries. You're to come alone, but that is not uncommon. You also receive a response from Lady Zanstra. She sends her regrets, but apparently she had to leave the spire earlier, and the person who's replying is her lady in waiting. So she has left the Lady Zanstra has left the spire.
Uh-oh.
Does that woman report that to Varelia or to me? Or?
Varelia.
Okay.
To Varelia.
Okay.
So you receive that note before you're off to see the Duke.
Okay.
Varelia.
All right then. You know what? I will if I've got some time, I will report to the White Ruin and tell him this is what they claim.
So I'll reach out and I will, with my massive hand, I'll sort of cup your face and I'll say, Varelia, you have done well. You seek power, is that not true? You seek comfort, security, power in this world. You have chosen correctly to follow me.
Your praise is all I desire, White Ruin.
And he'll lean in for a kiss.
Okay.
Does Varelia tell White Ruin of her task or her meeting with the Duke?
No, God, no. So,
Okay.
and she will totally kiss back because she's done this before.
She's into it.
Is this going to segue into a sex move?
Yeah.
Okay, totally.
All right. Excellent.
Excellent.
I do want to see this mechanic. It's not like I'm a creep, but I do want to see what happens.
I mean, it's there for a reason, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I,
okay.
Whenever, let's see, how does it work? When you and another character have sex, hold 1. Spend your hold any time to appear ready for combat when the person you had sex with is in danger.
All right, I like that because that helps. It protects me.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll write down stuff before I read mine out loud. All right. When you and another character have sex, hold 1. You may spend your hold to act as though you have rolled a 10+ on whispered darkness, or an ear at each door and an eye at each hallway with the character you had sex with as the target. You do not need to have the move you picked for it to work. So, yeah, I can check on you at some point whenever I want.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then afterwards,
All right.
I want to make my way to the Duke. Costume change, of course.
Mm-hmm. The upper gallery has been sealed off. In fact, we're going to say that the note that was sent to you comes with the key,
Okay.
so only you can enter. Most of the revelry is going on in other places of the spire. The upper levels aren't in use at this time, so it's very quiet. You're very good at moving silently and with great subterfuge across these kind of halls. You've done it all your life. You reach the gallery. You unlock the door carefully with a key, and you open it. Inside, it's quite still and dark, but you do see a flickering lantern at the far end. You enter, and the first thing you notice is that the Duke is waiting, kind of leaning against the wall near the lantern.
Cool. As I look around, is there like anyone else, or
No, it's just you and the Duke.
and like I want to describe, like, the outfit she changed into, it's like ridiculously seductive. But beside the point, I could not help but pick up that you are seeking aid and alliances, and I think that we could help each other out in this regard.
Okay. He appears to be regarding you as you talk to him. You can go ahead and study a person on this.
Sure. Well, actually, I think as I want to talk, you see, I have evidence that, while we both know that your poor unfortunate king is sadly not long for this world, the fear could be if an accusation were made against the prince's birthright, things might change, and I have evidence that could support this.
Nice.
And
Okay.
all I need in return was a way to end the terrible reign of the Bloody Fist. I need promises.
Okay. So I
So
give you the opportunity to study a person, but this could be something else.
yeah, it could be either whisper darkness or persuade with leverage.
Oh, that's a good question.
But I'm also totally trying to pass on a secret for my own benefit.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But don't mark that just yet.
No.
I think the move to make on this one is study a person.
Okay. Well, it's all the same mechanical.
Yeah.
It's all Sly and Wily are both a +2.
Okay.
6 + 2 is an 8.
Yeah.
Also,
and,
but I have +2. I have 2 forward from
right.
studying him earlier. So, which is
Yes.
just gonna continue that
It's a
cycle.
10.
Yeah. It's gonna
All right.
continue the cycle of asking the questions and getting +1 forward.
All right. So before you ask your question, here is the actual problem. You see the Duke leaning against the wall, but he's leaning unnaturally. And as you approach, you notice that he's been stabbed through the heart with a spear.
Ugh.
And the spear looks an awful lot like the White Ruins narwhal spear. You hear shouting from the hall behind you. The doors burst open and some soldiers enter. You notice that they're wearing the prince's livery. And they say, "The Duke's been killed. It's the Wanderers."
Dun dun dun.
So we're going to end that here. And we'll pick it up next time.
Mm-hmm.
Can
Okay,
you?
I'm going to go ahead and start the broadcast.
Okay.